They say family is everything, but whoever said that clearly never met David. Now, imagine this. You grow up in a house where your younger brother is the golden child, the one who gets his favorite meals, clean laundry, and endless parental praise, while you quiet, studious, and apparently invisible get handed chores and insults in equal measure. That was my life. I was not jealous of David. In fact, I tolerated his tantrums, the petty thefts, the cruel pranks, and even the fact that he once tried to set my hair on fire. Yes, you read that right, he went full Disney villain on me. And our mother? She said he was just playing. Because, you know, setting a sibling ablaze is how brothers bond, apparently. From childhood into adolescence, David was a one-man torment parade. He took every chance to mock me, sabotage my stuff, and insult me when I was already at rock bottom. I wore glasses, I was 4 eyes. I was getting bullied at school, he joined in. My diary? Read aloud like it was a stand-up comedy special. Every time I protested, my parents either brushed it off or worse, blamed me. I must have provoked him, according to Mom. It was like living in an episode of Survivor. Dysfunctional Family Edition. Then came high school and the flaming hair incident. When David attempted to literally cook my scalp, my dad finally realized maybe, just maybe, his beloved mini-me had crossed a line. He threatened to call the police, and for the first time ever, David looked genuinely afraid. Victory had a strange scent, maybe it was burned hair. My dad started seeing through the cracks in David's golden boy image. He even signed me up for MMA training, which, at the time, felt like putting a goldfish through Navy SEAL boot camp. But I took to it like a nerd to coding, disciplined, relentless, and absolutely determined. Soon, the gangly weakling David used to mock could throw a punch that had real consequences. And throw a punch I did. One day, after he stole the money I'd been saving for months, I finally snapped. I confronted him as he tried to pedal off with my cash, and before I knew it, I clocked him square in the face. He cried, I laughed, Mom scolded me. Dad shrugged and basically told David he was lucky I didn't file a police report. From there, things changed. David started avoiding me, likely because his nose still remembered the feel of my knuckles. But instead of becoming a better person, he doubled down on passive-aggressive insults and emotional distance, refusing to talk to me directly and sending messages through our mother like some medieval courtier. Eventually, I got out. I earned a scholarship to my dream university vindication through academia. Dad was proud. Mom seemed vaguely impressed. David didn't care. I left home with a sense of relief, so profound it might as well have come with background music and slow motion. At university, I met Karen, smart, beautiful, funny. We clicked immediately. She was everything I wanted. We got married after graduation when she got pregnant. Life seemed good. Of course, Seem is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. Over time, I learned about Karen's indiscretions. There was an affair with a married coworker and a fling with an ex. I forgave her twice because I wanted to keep our family together. I convinced myself it was youthful mistakes, bad judgment, bad timing, whatever excuse made it easier to breathe. But the final blow came like a wrecking ball made of betrayal. One evening, Karen confessed that our son, my son, might not be mine. And who was the other candidate on this paternity game show? None other than the family's former golden boy, my brother David. Apparently, when Karen stayed with my family over the holidays, David was on his best behavior for once. He befriended her, confided in her about his breakup, and eventually slipped into her bed. She claimed it was a moment of weakness. I called it what it really was, an Olympic-level betrayal. Karen admitted the two of them had been sneaking around for years, turning business trips into romantic getaways. She even had the nerve to say she picked me because I was the more reliable brother. Gee, thanks. I always wanted to be the safe choice after you played musical beds with my sibling. When I finally left her, she cried, begged, accused, rationalized every emotional tool in the manipulator's toolbox. But I had nothing left to give. I walked out. No yelling, no drama. Just a broken man with a packed suitcase and a heart dragging behind like a tired old dog. The next day, I told my parents everything. My mom, true to form, tried to defend David, but I asked her and my dad to stay quiet while I called him. I needed him to say it out loud so they could hear the truth from his smug mouth. At first, David denied everything. Then, realizing he was cornered, he turned on Karen, called her names, blamed her for his actions, and said it wasn't his fault if women found him irresistible. I was about ready to puke. My dad took the phone and, in a voice soaked in disappointment, delivered the verbal version of a guillotine. He disowned David, cut off his college funds, canceled his financial support, and told him to figure out life like the rest of us peasants. David's golden child privilege was officially revoked. Mom hugged me later that night. For the first time in forever, I felt like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't the invisible son. Dad helped me find a lawyer. We filed for divorce. Karen fought for alimony. We did a paternity test. Guess what? Not my kid. I won in court, but lost a child I had loved like my own. I chose not to see him again. Not because of hatred for an innocent boy, but because of what he represented. Karen begged me to stay in his life. I couldn't. He looked too much like David. It hurt too much. Then came the inheritance bombshell. My dad, God bless his iron spine, decided David wouldn't get a cent of the $2 million estate he'd worked for his whole life. He'd leave everything to me, with the sole condition that Mom could stay in the house as long as she lived. David, now cut off, jobless, and facing child support, came crawling back probably after hearing about the will. Thanks, Mom. He called me, voice trembling, saying he needed my help. Said he was broke, couldn't finish college, and Karen was hounding him for money. I laughed. Not out of cruelty, well, maybe a little, but because the irony was too much. The guy who mocked me for years now wanted my help. I reminded him that he made his choices, slept with my wife, fathered a child behind my back, and still never apologized. He said I was being unfair. I told him he was being delusional. I hung up. Did it hurt to hear him cry? A little. I'm human. But forgiveness isn't about being a doormat. It's about setting boundaries. And sometimes forgiveness means letting go completely. My dad remains a rock. My mom stays quiet now, probably fearing my dad's threat to leave her if she defends David again. Meanwhile, David and Karen are playing house somewhere, raising a child born of lies. I wish them luck. They'll need it. As for me, I have rebuilt. Promoted at work, therapy is helping, and for the first time in a long time, I feel okay. I'm not ready to date yet, but I'm learning to trust life again. There's peace in solitude. There's strength in silence. And as for David? Well, let's just say every golden boy eventually rusts. And that's the wild, jaw-dropping, absolutely bonkers ride that was my life. Or at least, the family-sized soap opera version of it. If you made it this far, bless your heart. Go ahead and smash that like button harder than I smashed David's ego when I cut him off. If you enjoy real-life stories that sound like they were written by a drama-loving screenwriter on 5 cups of coffee, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss the next emotional roller coaster.